Alright, so since you have to create your own shapes, I actually wanted to go through a couple of the exercises we did in the beginning of the year just to give you a little refresher on how you can create some really intricate and interesting patterns very quickly and then use them in the Photoshop project of your choice. So the first thing I'm going to go over is a repeating shape using the duplicate feature. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a rectangle. And remember, this can be done with virtually any shape, but I just like building on rectangles at the moment. Call me crazy. And I'm just going to create one horizontal rectangle. And if we zoom in, boom, there it is. There is a black stroke with a white fill. And I'm just going to swap that out and remove the stroke. So we just have a very thin rectangle. And for my purposes, I want to grab the select tool and make it a bit thinner. Now before we do the next and final step for this, I kind of like to rotate it because I think it makes it more interesting. So I'm just going to grab the corners over here, give it a nice 15-degree turn, and there we go. So here's the trick for creating a pattern using some shape like this and basically going in one direction. Not a reference to the band. I'm going to have the direct select tool or the select tool, black arrow, hover over my shape, hold down the Alt key, and you can see the two icons change and it's like two arrows, and I'm just simply going to click and drag. If you hold down shift, it creates a locked aspect ratio, so I could do it in 45 degrees if I wanted, or off diagonal, and I actually will try that. So once you release click first, and then release all the keyboard shortcuts. Not too impressive until you go over to Edit, and where is it? Because I use a keyboard shortcut all the time. I don't know where the actual duplicate key is, so you're just going to have to trust me and hit down Control D. And if you just zoom out and hold down Control D, and there we go. So we got our pattern. The last steps are to select those shapes, which they are right there. And what I'm going to do is hit Control 8 or Object, Compound Path, and Make. And there we have a compound path ready to be made, and we can actually stretch the whole thing out, and there it is. So this is a kind of a straightforward pattern, and the next one I'm going to show you and the last one is going to be creating a pattern using rotation. So this one I'm going to do something a little different, and let's try it. Polygonal tool. So we got a polygon, and of course this can be done with a square or any shape that you want. I'm going to drop that on, and I'm going to change it to stroke because honestly it's more interesting when it has a stroke to it. And I'm going to thicken the stroke by going up here and just hitting up a couple times. And then I'm going to go over, and you'll find right here underneath the blob tool on this set, looks like a circle, the rotate tool. I'm going to click it, and normally it just allows me to rotate stuff, and you can see right at the center here, that is the center of rotation. But there's a trick where if I hold down Alt, and you can see that these little three dots appear on my cursor, and then I click, I've moved the center of rotation, and it's asking me how many, by this point at center rotation, what angle do I want to rotate it. And as long as it's divisible into 360 degrees evenly, then it will be a repetition or repeat that pattern evenly throughout. So I'm going to put in, let's put in 15 degrees. First I hit preview because I want to see where it's going to be. I'm happy with that. And instead of hitting OK, I hit copy. And once I've hit copy, I just hold down or hit Control D until the pattern rotates all the way around. And there we go. Now we're not done yet. Instead of creating just a regular old clipping path, because that wouldn't suffice, we're going to do something different. First, we're going to hit, actually, let's see if we can do it just right away. Object, expand, fill and stroke, and there we go. And if you look at your layers, actually it's still not unified. So we want to do something else. We're going to turn this into a compound path. Remember, Control 8 is the shortcut. And then we're going to go to Object and Expand. And once I made a compound path out of the shape, then I can go to Object, Expand, and it's done. We're good. Oh, and if I really wanted to, I can merge it all into one object by hitting the Pathfinder. You can find that in your window and hitting plus. And now it is really, literally, one object, no breaks, it cannot be unbroken. And once I have this, then you can simply change the color by using the color picker. You could also just use the wealth of swatches over here. Or you can do one of my favorite things, change the gradient. And boom, that is a black to white gradient. And if you wanted to, you could simply go over, select the object, and with the swatches palette open and your gradient palette here, you can just simply drop colors onto the gradient, making it something a little more interesting. Boom. And there it is. So I hope this helps you create some interesting patterns. Remember that you can also use text, but whatever you do, you must, absolutely must, put your shape inside this box. You might have to resize it to make it even, whatever it is. This box is what will be imported into Photoshop. So if you use anything and wanted to use it, but it's outside of this little box, it will not appear in Photoshop.